Hello and welcome to today's class. I am Claudia Mühlenweg. I'm the founder and CEO of Holistic Vision and the creator of the Naturally Clear Vision Method that allows my students to ditch their glasses, contacts without surgery by improving their vision naturally. I'm also a yoga teacher and a role model method teacher, and that's what we're really here for today, to release tension in our tissues. So every one of us is tight. We all have tension in some parts of the body. And this method is something I'm using with my vision students and also with my yoga students. And I know not everyone that's on the call today or that's watching this on YouTube has eyesight problems, but if you do have vision problems and you would like to know a little bit more about what you can do to avoid glasses, to reverse your vision problems, then go to myholisticvision.com. There's a free download called 10 Habits for Healthy and Happy Eyes, and that gives you 10 really great tips that you can implement right away to start seeing better. And 100% of my students are out of their full strength prescription glasses, and a lot of them are actually able to completely ditch their glasses. Today we will be working on our feet, and you might be asking, what do feet have to do with your eyesight? So the fascia connects everything in the body. So while there is not a direct location connection to the eyes, there's also the points right here that are connected to the eyes in reflexology. And, the feet we stand on the feet. The feet are our foundation. And if there's tension and tightness in the feet, like plantar fasciitis or any other issues, your whole balance will be off, your posture will be off. Posture affects eyesight, your balance affects eyesight. If the vestibular system are the eyes and the ears. So it's really all connected. So it's not like a straight, direct practice, doing palming or doing some other vision practices, but having your feet in good shape is a really good idea. And if you can use tennis balls, totally fine, but these little grippy balls are really the best because they grip your skin. Like tennis balls, you will see when we get started in a few moments, tennis balls you might slip off, and tennis balls are also a little bigger. These are a little smaller than tennis balls, so these are really good for the feet. And what I recommend, if you can, I know money is tight for a lot of you right now, but if you can get like 2 or 3 pairs of these guys, I have a pair in my bathroom that's just sitting on the floor, and I'm standing and rolling on them while I'm brushing my teeth. So you already get your foot massage in, without spending extra time on it. So we really only need 1 ball for most of the things today, but we want to evenly use them. So use both balls so that one doesn't get worn down and the other one is still fresh. Let me twist my screen so that you can see my feet here. Okay. So you come into a standing position. I have to check if you can see this. All right, and then we will start. You put your heel, one leg is standing, and again, you can have this chair or a wall to kind of help you to make sure that you're not losing balance. And then you put that ball right under the ball of the foot, not directly here, but a little bit here. That's how we start. We will start. And maybe I should move a little closer so it's bigger. You see, here we go. I hope you can see this okay. Because I can't, my screen is angled so low that it's hard for me to see this. So you have the heel on the ground, and then you basically, it's called everting and inverting. You're moving your foot side to side, and now you can decide. See, I'm leaning more on my back leg. Now I have very little pressure, or I can lean all the way onto this foot with the ball. That will obviously create a lot more pressure. And if you have new balls, this is a great thing to kind of break them in. So this is really good. If you have plantar fasciitis or pain in your foot, it's really good to do this with older balls or to lean more back so that you have less pressure. But if you have no problems with your feet and you have fresh, hard balls, I love to do this with new balls because I used to have huge issues. I used to wear flip-flops all the time. And ever since I got these balls and learned how to do this, the pain in my foot is gone, and only if I use really fresh new hard balls I feel anything. So keep going. By the way, I'm also I'm not just a certified vision teacher, I'm a certified yoga teacher and a role model method. This is called the role model method. There's a book that comes with it too that I can recommend. Okay, and then you move the ball Now you're on the ball of the foot is on the mat, and you have the ball right under your, not directly here under the heel, but in that kind of more sensitive area right in front of it. And then you, as if you kind of scrape something off your foot here. No, imagine there's like some chewing gum or something under your shoe. So you kind of just doing the same thing. You're moving across. Yeah, I don't really need the chair, but I like to lean my whole body weight into the ball. And you can also, if there's a tender spot, you can just kind of stay there. So you don't have to move. Same with this area. If there's a spot that really hurts, like sometimes I like to just put the ball right here and just kind of squish it between my foot and the, so, you know, do whatever where you feel some tension and pain, you can always kind of stay in that spot. It feels so good, doesn't it? And if you do this while brushing your teeth, I stand on both balls at the same time when I'm brushing my teeth. And, you know, I just, like, you can just stand on them too. You don't have to move. All right. Okay, and then we will do a little bit of what I like to call bowling. So think of your toes as bowling pins, and you go from the heel to the first toe to the second. I mean, you don't have to exactly aim, but you want to, the point is you want to really cover the whole, like from here to here to here. So you're going from the outside to the middle, you're going around the whole area of the foot. I think I have to come closer so you see it bigger. There you go. Don't forget to breathe. Okay, and the next part is my favorite, and this might be really awkward initially. When I first did this, I was like, so we want to make a toe fist. So you really like, and this is the thing, we all wear shoes now. I can, like, you can tell from my toes that the little one is kind of tucked under, and I never wore like really pointy high heels. I never liked those, but my little toe is like, feet should ideally be like, feet should ideally be like, you know, they should be like this. They should be a triangle. This is how feet should look like. And my little toe is definitely from wearing tight shoes. So this is a great way to improve your strength in your feet, but also your flexibility. So make a toe fist, like really as if you can try to lift that ball up. And then spread the toes. Spread them wide. I think I have to come closer here so that you can see me better. And then grab the ball, squeeze, and then spread the toes. Squeeze as hard as you can, and then spread them. So we have very strong toes, but since we put them in shoes all day, one reason that I'm really looking into the minimal footwear options, and I'm running around barefoot as much as possible on socks. Okay, now the fun part. I feel like my feet are too small on the screen. Maybe I just push this a little bit forward. So this is the part that's my favorite, really. So now lift just the big toe. And you might be like, I can't do this. I couldn't do this initially either. And then keep that down. And this is where I'm struggling a little more. And now lift the little ones. And you can use your hand. You can use your hand to push that one down. And you can also kind of here help your really get these guys up and then alternate. So toe, big toe. So we have separate muscles in all the toes. Yeah, this is why I'm struggling a little bit more with the little ones by themselves. But, you know, as babies, we can do that. And then we put our feet in shoes. So keep, you know, again, you can totally use your fingers to kind of teach your brain. And you might notice when you do this that your hands are doing this. So in the brain, it's a connection. So as you try to figure out how to move your toes, your hands might be making some similar moves. So, okay. All right. And then the last thing, this is where you probably want a chair or some kind of wall to support you. You put the ball right here again, and then you use your other foot and stroke the top of the other one. So you might have tender, this might feel really tender, but you use now I'm using my left foot to massage the top of my right foot. Oh, this feels so nice, doesn't it? Oh, so good. And this is what I mean. Tennis balls might be a little bit too big for this. Plus they're slippery. So this is like, because they're grippy, you're not going to slip off this ball. But a tennis ball might be a little bit more challenging for this. Good. Doesn't it feel, oh my God, how do the two feet compare to each other, right? So now let's use the other balls so we wear them down equally. And we start again, heel on the floor, and then do this side to side. And by the way, I learned that all these sneakers that we use for running, all these shoes with supportive, like people that have flat feet, it's really, the thing is the shoes that you wear that with arches in them and all the support is actually bad because they deteriorate your muscles further. So what you really want is to do this and strengthening of your feet and give your feet freedom. And again, you can lean more weight into the ball. So if you don't feel enough, just put the whole body weight into that side. Or if it hurts, you can put more weight on the back foot, the one without the ball, and then so you decide. You can completely control how much pressure. And then we do the other one where we go kind of, let me see. Oops. You put the toes and the ball of the foot on the mat, and then you have the ball right in front of the heel, and you go sideways. Like you're basically crossing all over from left to right. And if you find a spot, again, this is like what I like to do especially when I brush my teeth. If you find a spot that feels like really painful, like I like to put the outer edge of my foot down and just squish that ball there. So the outer edge, if I show you the other side, the outer edge would be down, and I just squish that ball there. It feels really, really good. Okay, and then the bowling, just rolling. I feel a little bit more tenderness on the outer edge here, for instance. Breathe, don't forget that part. All right, and now the toe fist. So squeeze that ball, squeeze. I'm a little closer. I didn't actually get a pedicure. I hope my feet are not too. And then spread your toes, and then squeeze, spread, squeeze. So keep going back and forth. This is so, so good and so important to do. And now you're alternating just the big toe. And I noticed my index finger was like lifting up when I'm doing this. And now I can do it much better with the left side, I just realized, than my right foot. That's interesting. And then alternating. Again, if you have trouble with this, you can also come down on your knee and you can like help your brain and just kind of help get the muscle memory. So you're supporting that. So, this is usually probably easier for most of you to just lift the big toe, but then keep that down. Yeah. So if you can also reach down and stand, but depending on your mobility. All right. And then so you come down like this. Oh, sorry, like this, and then you use your other foot to kind of massage the top here in every angle and direction. And maybe you notice there's some tenderness there. So this is so yummy. We stand on our feet all day and we don't, unless we sit, but we don't really give them much love, right? We put them in tight shoes and, yeah, and you can also just press if there's a spot that feels tender, just press on there. All right. So that's the feet. How do your feet feel right now? And then I want to do a little bit of work on let's see, what time do we have? Okay, we still have time. So now I want to do a little bit of work on the shins. So I went hiking on Sunday, which was like 4 days ago. And because the hike was like really flat and I wanted to get some cardiovascular exercise in, and I did a little bit of jogging, and I'm not a runner at all. And you put them back in the tote. I actually don't like running at all, but I wanted to do something. So I was like, it wasn't running. It was like just one notch above walking. So like really easy jog. But what I noticed, even though I learned the technique of chi running, I'm not a trained teacher in this, but I know in chi running, it's not the idea when you run that you do this to run. but that you basically just wait till you are falling forward. So you're always stepping forward in an angle like this. So you're as if you're falling forward. So the idea is that you're not supposed to really lift your heel. But I must have done that because I noticed that my shins are really like, especially my left one, when I do this feels really tight. And so that might be tight for you too. What you need is a block. So you need a block and you put the ball in the toe. So if you have tennis balls, maybe put them in a sock or something. That's why these are so nice. And of course, everybody makes jokes like the ball sack, of course. If you have two blocks, you can even put two blocks. Let me see, I need to probably adjust the angle here in a runway, but one block is fine. So I'm going to show it with one block. You put the balls on there, and then you put your shin. Ah, I can already feel this. And then you go, that's why two blocks in a row gives you a longer runway. But if you have one, that's fine. If you have one, you just do the upper part and then the lower. Oh, I feel this right here. And then, so when you feel a spot where it's tender, now you can do flap your wings here. You can flex and dorsal and plantar flex your foot. That's what it's called in anatomy. So you can make circles, ankle circles. Oh, I really feel this. I think I need to change the angle a little bit so that you see this better. More than my, here we go. I think this is better. Okay, so, ooh. And then you can do a little bit more toward the outside, to the inside, so you can rotate your weight. I don't know about you guys, but this is pretty painful for me. So this is a spot that I don't really kind of work on that much because I always have more urgent issues like my belly and my jaw and my neck. But this is a really good one to work on. So again, you can move your flex and point your foot while you roll, or you find a spot that feels tender and then just do the pointing and flexing and circles. And maybe we will do the forearms tomorrow. This is really good. Same thing to do with the forearms. If you don't feel enough, if you're like, okay, Claudia, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't feel anything. Let me move this forward. You can now add your whole body weight. So you can do this. So by now, I'm sure you feel something. I do. Okay. But you know, for me, this is enough today. But if you can always add as much weight as possible to the belt, to the balls. All right. You know, and if you find a spot that's juicy, you can just kind of really push all your weight into that spot. Yeah, I noticed that my left one was hurting more. For some reason, I must have, when I was hiking or jogging, I must have done the left one more of this flexion, like this movement. All right, and then let's do the other side. I'm going to flip around here. I always have to look for the camera angle so that you can see what I'm doing. So it's always good to just kind of do a check-in, and you have to negotiate the balls on the block. And the reason you need the block is because that way you can flex your foot. So if you don't have a block or your thick block, you know, you can do this like this too. You can, but you can't, it's really hard to flex your foot. So if you don't have a block, then do it this way, but you don't have the ability to push in the ball and really flex your foot. That's why I like to use a block or a book. And these blocks are cheap. You can get them in the US at Target, or I think for like $11 or online. I got some, these are better quality. They're from a brand called Manduka. They're really like firm. I have some cheaper ones from other brands that I got on Amazon for $6, but these are like super, like, what do you call them? Stiff. Like if you, like basically the cheap blocks, you would have seen an indentation here. Here you see some marks on the balls, but you don't see, they don't get a dent suddenly from pressing on them. But the cheap ones are fine. So you don't have to spend a lot of money here. Ooh. And when you find the spot again, I'm putting more weight on it and then flexing, pointing, circling your ankle. Hmm. You can sigh it out. Yeah, I don't need to add more weight to this today, but yeah, if you feel like you don't feel anything, then come do this and then you will definitely feel something. And you can go more toward the outside. I have more, for me, feel more, oops, I feel more right here versus on the inside. So I have more tension here, but that might be different for you. So just explore it. Yeah, and you can definitely stay in a place and just breathe into that. Hmm. Ooh. Yeah, this is definitely something it's always interesting when I gave my mom some balls. I said, do you have any pain in you? She's like, no, no. And then once you get on the balls, usually there's something that's tender, right? So even if you don't feel anything, you might feel some tenderness. And especially with feet, we do put them in shoes, and so we really lose the ability. And that's why all that supportive footwear is really not good for you, because your arches, the arches, if you don't so massaging is lengthening the muscles and the gripping is strengthening them. So you want to do both. You don't just want to massage and stretch and lengthen. It's like a rubber band, right? You want to be able to stretch it, but also be strong to contract again. So, and a lot of what I notice with a lot of bodybuilders are performance, especially guys sometimes, they have these super strong muscles. When I teach yoga, they have like the huge biceps, but they can't even straighten their arm, right? For handstand, they have like, so you want to make sure you have both the range of motion and the strength. It's both important. Okay. The big toe lift was really hard for me, Kathy said. Okay, sure. So I mean, always talk with your doctor. I'm not a doctor, but what I learned in my yoga training and in the training for this method, I also trained in yoga tune-up, is really that like the more we support something, the weaker the muscles become. It's really makes sense, right? So it's the same with glasses. If you wear glasses, your eye muscles, and it's not just the eye muscles, and you guys know this, but it's the vision that happens in the brain. But the brain drives your muscle contraction. So if you, let's say as an example, if you never do this with your feet, or you always have your feet in shoes, the brain thinks that's the normal state. That's the optimal state. That's what the brain thinks. So same with, let's say you sit all day. You sit all day, so your hip flexors are in this mode, and now you're standing, and now the brain thinks, okay, this is the most amount of extension, and then you suddenly go to a yoga class, and you're doing this thing, and this is like hip extension. So we don't have a lot of hip extension. We don't have a lot of range backward. But if you never do this, your brain thinks that this is kind of, it shouldn't be any more than this. This is like the maximum. So your brain uses what you do all day as a baseline to kind of calibrate what optimal movement should be like, but that's usually not optimal. That's just what you do all day. So it's kind of, does that make sense? Okay. Yeah, the more you wear support, doesn't matter if it's glasses, if it's shoes, the more support you wear, the weaker your muscles get. So I hope this makes sense. So yeah, I think we're good today, but I highly recommend that you get these yoga tune-up boards. And again, these are called Tune-Up Fitness. I'm not affiliated with this brand. I'm trained in this method. I've tested lots of balls. I really love these, and I highly recommend you get like 2 of these pairs if you can. Put one in your bathroom that you can stand on, and then have another one, for this kind of work. But if you have just one pair, that's fine too. Yeah, so this is, we can do so much more, but we're also out of time. But you can also use them on your ankles. Maybe we do that tomorrow. If you have any requests, and you're live attending, you can use this on your ankles. You can, what I also love to do is do it here, squeeze the ball in. Oh. And the intense version of that, maybe we do that tomorrow. That's the sandwich for your calves, and you you sit on it. So, you now you can't see the ball anymore. But yeah, this is something I couldn't do when I first started. You can squeeze them right in here. I hope you can see this. So you squeeze them. And then, you might just do this. Yeah, I'm trying to find the best angle. Or maybe, so this is where it starts hurting for me. So this you can't do with tennis balls, they're too big, but this is a really good one. And then you move the balls further down. And then you just breathe. You can shift your booty a little bit side to side, and then the balls will go more to the outside or more to the inside. So there's obviously the bones, they don't stay on the bones, so they either move to the outside or inside. Yeah, so you can do a little, put some music on, have some fun, and then you move them slowly down. Ooh, yeah. Now this is where I can start sitting on them. So this is, yeah, you can do that while you watch Netflix. Oops, now my head is chopped off. All right, you guys, I hope this was helpful. So, be creative with the balls too. And if you want, I will, the book is called The Role Model. Let me put that in the chat. Be creative, really. There's only a few areas where you don't want to put the balls. You don't want to put them right here on the wrist, right on that, like right here on the bottom of the stone. You don't want to press against there. You obviously don't want to press against the throat. So there's, like just use common sense, but you can be creative and just explore your body. Like the balls really help you to also feel connections. You might put the ball somewhere and suddenly the pain, especially in the back, somewhere you put it here or on your belly and then you feel it in the back. Because again, everything is connected. So it's a really good way to become more, how do we call this, versed in the map of your own body and just become more aware of how things are connected. And I think that's one problem with the Western medicine is that often, like, say you have a problem with your shoulder or your lower back, and then they look at the lower back in isolation. My chiropractor always, when I've had lower back problems since a long time, 2 times sciatica, and he always works on my abdomen first. Because if my abs are all super tight, that affects my back muscles, right? So he also told me, because I had an injury in my left big toe. So this is an interesting thing to finish this today. So my sister and I, we were not always best friends. So she pushed me down the stairs when I was 18. And this is all I can do in terms of flexion on my left side. On my right side, I can do this, right? So I'm limited in how much I can. This is where it hurts right here. And I'm working on it all the time, but it affects how I'm walking. Because when I'm walking and I'm not rolling off my toe on the left as much, then my hips will be imbalanced. And when my hips are imbalanced, then the back is affected. So it's like a chain reaction, right? If the foundation is not strong and healthy and has the range of motion of one side is different than the other, your whole building will kind of get crooked. And that's what I really want you guys to think about. It's not like, oh, eyes, like this is the only area we need to work on. It's really all connected. So I hope this was helpful. I'm going to stop this video now.